I have something you could call a gotta catch them all commanders and decks. I pretty much have the complete cEDH format. Name a deck and I can pretty much build that deck. And throughout the years I've played a lot of different commanders and commander decks. And there are some decks that I find okay. Some are a little bit not my style, a bit boring. And then there are some decks that I keep falling back to, some of my favorite decks. I enjoy playing a lot of decks, but there are definitely decks that I keep coming back to. So in this video, we're gonna go over my top 10 favorite cEDH decks. At number 10, we have the Gitrog monster, a commander that utilizes the graveyard and lands, and I definitely enjoy building decks that somehow utilize the graveyard in various ways to grind or do some other cool things. And I also like the land archetype. And the Gitrog monster is one of the very few commanders in cEDH that is a land commander. Then we have a card like this, that is a random, you need a random whatever discard outlet, you need Dakmor Salvage, and you need Kozilek, the Butcher of Truth, or any form of other Eldrazi Titan that will shuffle your entire graveyard into your library, and you have the 4 Horsemen Gitrog combo. But look at this, some of the cards we get to play: Life from the Loam, Strip Mine, and Cabal Pit. This is just pure fun, or fun for me at the very least. Now, you can use these lands to interact with your opponents, you can use this to destroy your opponent's creatures, to destroy lands, and with Life from the Loam we can redo it over again. And if we have the Horror Froggy Boss in play, then we could draw cards when we do this, over and over, to grind extra value. The big reason why I don't play the Golgari Frog so much anymore is because I've played it quite a lot back in the days, kinda overplayed it, and today I have a few decks that are reaching a little bit higher on my fun tier list. Number 9 on my list, I have Ydris Storm. I really like how fast and consistent Storm decks can be, and I really like playing Storm. Storm is a really cool archetype. So with Ydris, you attack, you gain Cascade on all the cards you cast from your hand, and with that you should be able to storm off and win. Also, I really like that we don't really need Ydris to win the game. With a card like Nauseam, if you've built your deck on a really low CMC ratio overall, cast Nauseam, draw a really high amount of cards, and from that you should be able to ritual, ramp, and storm off. On number 8 on my list, I have to give it to Grenzo Doomsday. I really like the part that this is a 1-card combo that is quite fast, considering it's only 3 black mana and then 2 more generic at a total 5. And this is actually a really weird and strange combo that is a little bit tricky to interact with. But also, I love the part that the way you can build Grenzo and still have your Doomsday combo available, that you can fill your deck with various hate bears, interacting with your opponents and turning Grenzo's ability into a card drawing ability. I like how the deck can be a bit adaptive, that you can go for your 1-card combo, or you can go for your backup beatdown plan, but also that Grenzo is actually something of a Voltron commander. You can buff him quite well and make him really huge. On number 7, I will give it to Tymna Crom Opus Thief. Now, this deck isn't really focused around the commanders. Tymna and Crom are basically there for color identity and being decent and really good commanders. The deck is actually a wheel deck, using cards like Notion Thief, and by the way, this is how it gets the name Opus Thief, together with cards like Wheel of Fortune. So you force all of your opponents to discard their entire hand, then draw 7 cards. But because of Notion Thief, you steal all the cards. I think this is really fun. For me. Number 6. Yeleva Nephalil's Scourge. Now, usually when people play Yeleva, they play Grixis Storm. I play Yeleva Stacks and Mill. My game plan is to kill all of my opponents by casting Yeleva over and over until all of their libraries are gone, and then I simply pass the turn. Their combos are also usually gone this way. I will usually have 10 to 7 cards remaining in my library, so I will survive. My deck is pretty much filled with Ramp, stacks, and ways to kill Yeleva. This mill deck of mine is actually a rogue deck and a bit fringe, containing nothing but interaction, no way of winning except recasting Yeleva over and over. Another thing I really like about Yeleva is that every game is unique. You get to play with your opponent's instants and sorceries as well. Number 5, Elsha of the Infinite, another storm deck, and I actually play it just like a storm deck. There is a lot of different ways you can actually build Elsha of the Infinite, but I enjoy doing it with Artifact Storm. How my Elsha Stacks Storm artifact deck functions is like this. I need a bunch of cards that will reduce the casting cost of artifacts, like for example Ydris Familiar or Ethereum Sculptor, and then a card like Cursed Totem that isn't affecting me at all, making it impossible for creatures to activate, costing 2 mana. I will cast it for 0 mana from the top of my library. So basically my deck is filled with various artifact stacks, cards, artifacts with interaction, and then cards that will reduce the casting cost. So I can just sit there and flip the top card of my library, building an enormous industry. But I really like the part that this Jeskai monk can be built in various ways. So depending on what's strong versus your playgroup, this genie can actually be focused towards that. I also just gotta say that I love the feeling of how it feels when Storm Deck flows, the beautiful relationship between Ritual and card draw. Number 4, Kenrith the Returned King. I really like this boss. Commanders with all 5 color identities are usually my favorites. In the end, Kenrith is really similar to Thrasius and Tymna, but 4 colors isn't enough for me. I want all 5. Now, Thrasius and Tymna might be better, but I gotta say, I think this guy is a little bit more fun. He can be built in more various ways, just because he has the color identity of red, and he is a little bit more open with his abilities. Now, Kenrith can be built in a lot of various ways. You can build Flash Hulk, Scepter, Reanimate, I guess Necrotic Ooze, Hermit Druid, etc, etc. I guess there are more things. And he's a really new boss, so I guess it's gonna take some time until I find my favorite Kenrith build. But also some time until the community figures out what's the strongest build for him. He's just gotten back, he's quite new, so we should give it some time. But I gotta say this, the things I've playtested with him so far has been really fun, and actually looks quite promising. Number 3, the partner combination Thrasius Vile Smasher, and the deck is Slow Bomb. Now I just mentioned that I prefer all 5 colors, but this deck is such a blast, and it's literally a blast, that it's actually higher on my fun tier list. Now I have built quite a lot of different Slow Bomb builds, but my favorite one is my Burn Bears Slow Bomb build, focused at Glinthorn Buccaneer together with any form of curiosity effect. There's a lot of different curiosity effects, and having 8 cards in my hand size going to my end step, doing a lot of damage. But this deck is also filled with a lot of different hate bears, such as Scab Clan Berserker. So if my opponent is doing something we don't want them to do, Scab Clan Berserker will deal damage to them. But also the part that if you put Curiosity on Scab Clan Berserker, then you get a draw card as well. And this deck is filled with red burn bears, making sure we don't lose the game, and making sure our opponent doesn't sit there and do whatever they want. My favorite combination is Kedric Parasite with a Curiosity effect on it, so whenever an opponent draws a card, you also get to draw a card. One thing I really like about this deck is that it has a lot of different variant pathways it can take during the game. So for example, if you're unable to win the game with Curiosity and Glinthorn Buccaneer, impossible to connect these two onto each other, you could also win the game with Isochron Scepter Dramatic Reversal. That's also inside the deck. But also, one really big part is that the deck is filled with random damage, together with Vile Smasher. So you can actually go the distance and kill all of your opponents with just damage overall, because these creatures are just sitting there group slugging our opponents. Number 2, Valakut Ad Nauseam, another Thrasius Vile Smasher deck, yet this is not a slow bomb build. This is a land deck, focused at Ad Nauseam, Valakut and Thrasius. Vile Smasher is pretty much just color identity. You need the color identity of red and black to get access to these two cards. You could do this with Gollus, and you could also do it with Lord Windgrace. Yet, I gotta say that I think Thrasius is the dominating boss to actually run this combo and strategy. I gotta say that this deck is actually quite rogue and really fringe. It's a really strange deck, and you need to have a special mindset piloting it. It's a deck I constructed myself, and it's rather tricky to actually pilot it, I've realized. I have seen others giving it a go, and they haven't really performed that well with it, yet I've played this deck for like 4 years in other versions of it, and I'm performing quite well with it. So I guess the answer is you need some experience playing this deck, because it is a really strange deck, and you need to learn how it functions before you can properly execute it, I think. Being a strange deck means not everyone is going to enjoy it, but I enjoy it, so I guess I'm a strange person. One thing I really like about this deck is the faces people make when they're playing against it. You see, people often reveal their hands filled with counterspells when they lose the game, as I'm just putting land drops into play. You see, you can't counterspell Valakut. You can stifle the trigger once, but that isn't gonna help you. Another thing I really like about this deck is that it's a one card combo. You only need Ad Nauseam to win the game, and if you resolve Ad Nauseam, you're pretty much gonna win the game. Every single time I've resolved Ad Nauseam, and if my life total is high enough, if I've taken too much damage, then it won't work. But if I haven't taken enough damage and I resolve my Ad Nauseam, every single time I have actually won the game. The combo is really difficult to interact with once it gets going. I mean, you're gonna draw your entire deck, so you're gonna draw all the interaction you can think of, so when you're trying to put all the combo pieces into play, you're gonna have enough protection to stop 3 opponents for sure. Like I said, every single time I've resolved Ad Nauseam and I had enough life total that I could draw close enough to the entire deck, I have won those games. Alright, it's the final one, the last one, number 1. cEDH, Weatherlight Captain, a 3 mana cost mono white creature with all 5 color identities. For Verberg mana activation, you get to search your library for a legendary card with converted mana cost less than cEDH's power and put it directly into play. This is a toolboxing commander, and I really like toolboxing commanders. There is a lot of different things I really like about cEDH. One of the things is that she's a really open commander, and you can build her in quite a lot of different ways. So if you tire of your cEDH deck, just tweak the legendary permanents inside it, tweak your win con, tweak some other stuff, and you basically have a completely new deck. Still the same commander, still the same awesome commander, and a entirely new game plan. Another thing I really like about cEDH is that you're actually playing the entire deck. You're playing your hand as well, just like any other deck, and you're playing the stuff you have on your board state, but when you're running this deck, you are thinking about your entire deck, what you're gonna do with it. And I really like the faces people make when they look over and see that I have cEDH and I'm ready to activate her, and they're thinking, can I actually win the game? Or is he just gonna fetch something that's gonna stop it completely? But the number 1 reason why I like this commander so much, or actually why I like toolboxing commanders so much, is because of this. And this reason is probably gonna surprise you quite a lot. I enjoy losing. Yeah, I guess that was really surprising. Now, whenever I lose with Toolbox, I can always go back and look and see why I lost. And I can realize that it was pretty much a misplay. Or not all 100% of the time. Sometimes you just lose because of other various reasons. But when you're playing Toolbox and you're playing your entire deck, you pretty much lose because you fetched the wrong answer and you misplayed. And I can go back and think about what I should have done instead, and I can get better, and I can try to improve. And I really like and enjoy trying to improve myself. And I really feel like I get to do that with Toolbox to an ultimate state. And whenever I play another deck, I don't get that feeling because I lose to various reasons that's a little bit outside of my control. I also lose because of misplay. But with Toolbox, I really feel that the skill of a player can push the deck higher. So if I'm spending an entire night playing a lot of non-Toolbox, non-cEDH decks, I'm not having as much fun as I would if I would play cEDH and Toolbox. Because usually when I go home losing with some various other commander, I usually go, that wasn't fun. But when I go home, if I played cEDH, I usually go, alright, so why did I lose? Could I fix this in some way? Okay, I actually do that with all the other commanders as well. But I don't get the same feeling. I don't get the same analyze that I get with cEDH when I'm losing with her. I really feel that I'm improving as a player the most when I'm piloting my Toolboxing cEDH deck. Now, I've played quite a lot of cEDH for some time now, and I think this is a good opportunity to reveal that I'm actually making a cEDH cEDH primer video. It's gonna be a really long video for my standards, where I try to include all the various things that I think is important when you're building cEDH. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and you wanna support me, consider sharing my videos or even checking out my Patreon page. Also, purchasing cards from the TCG Players website using the affiliate link down below will also help the channel grow. So a big thank you to all of you.